button. Hello, everybody. Welcome, everyone. Hello, Bobby.
Hello.
How's it going? You know, it's funny because I already know how it's going with Bobby, but you know, we're on air now, so hey, man, it's show business. What?
Are you on the right camera? The right scene?
I am not. I don't know. Oh, it's that problem again where both buttons do the same result. So I have no. So when I hit video,
It just worked. That's crazy.
I know this happens every stream. It works pre-stream, and then as soon as we start to stream, it does the same thing. Look at this though. One is lower light. If you look carefully, see that my face gets lighter, and now it's darker, and now it's lighter.
Restart your Stream Deck app?
Say again.
I think you have to restart your Stream Deck app.
Really?
Figured it out.
Okay, let's do that. Look at all the things we're figuring out here, man. Holy cow. Every time, you know. All right, I'm going to quit the Stream Deck app. Hey, Wendy. Hey, Trax. Hey, Spin. Hey, Nick. How's everyone doing so far? Welcome to the big party, the big pack party. What am I doing? Right, Elgato Stream Deck. I really hated when they changed the name of the app from Stream Deck.
Right. That screwed me up too.
Like it screwed me up. I was screwed up for a while. Nope, same result. Is there something like in the video settings, maybe?
Not a video.
I mean, sorry, the settings for the scene in, let me double click. Go ahead.
I was going to say you can try copy pasting it. No, because it's not changing the scene.
Like, this is crazy now. I'm getting pissed off at this point. Like everybody can see this different camera angle, right?
Right.
Oh, you know what I might do while I'm here? Oh no, I guess not. Yeah, this is I'm on VDO now.
So you're on video in OBS.
I'm in OBS. I'm on. This is the face cam scene. This is the video scene. So I don't understand, man. I really don't understand. Let me move this maybe over here. Good day so far, Nick. That's good to hear, man. Ready for some musical insights? All right. Hopefully I can provide one or two. I'm just trying to get the camera working now. It happens every time. It works. Now, can you do something on your end? Can you switch it? Because I think that was the solution last time. When you switched it remotely, try switching remotely.
Let's see. So you set the Blackmagic Design, not OBS Virtual Camera. So if you go to video.
Oh, okay. Allow director. Yes, you can change devices. Oh, wow. Look at that, man. Now that's not good. Do you see what's happening, Bobby?
Right.
Okay, there we go. So you're changing.
Is OBS shouldn't it not be Blackmagic Design? Shouldn't it be OBS?
It should be OBS. Yeah. Blackmagic Design is just the
camera.
It's my cameras. Yeah.
Oh wait, never mind. This should be fine. It's OBS that we should mess with, because this should be fine. Yeah, your video input is from Blackmagic Design or Blackmagic, whatever.
On video?
No, on OBS.
Yes, exactly. OBS is getting its video source from Blackmagic, correct?
Right.
So then the question is why? Guys, by the way, I'm so sorry. This is so unprofessional of us.
Literally, it was working.
It was just working.
restarted the stream.
This happens all the time. So now what happens if you try to switch me?
Yeah, nothing.
Nothing.
Mm-hmm. So the only thing I can think of is I mean, it might be overkill, but you might try restarting OBS.
All right, I can try restarting OBS. Oh, but then I have to stop the stream.
Oh, it'll kill the stream.
It'll kill the stream, yeah.
Okay.
What about, like, what, is it something maybe about the scene itself? Like,
I'm sure it's between the scene and the source.
All right, let me open up the sources and just see what the hell's going on in the sources. Oops. All right, so sources, we've got this. We have alerts, video browser. So let me just quickly like turn that off. Okay, so that's functioning. That's the video browser. Let me open it up. Let me do that trick where we cut.
That's what I was going to say.
Yeah, it could be that. Let's try that. I'll go ahead and paste. And then we have to make a supersized note if this works. Oh, okay. And now? Oh, there it is. So supersize on our notes, like the very first thing. Once the stream begins, video will stop working. Definitely cut and paste. Yeah, a big ass, you know, big note on our notes page. Well, here we are, everybody. We're finally out of our little tech problem. We've been finding these little weird things about OBS. Yeah, sorry, guys. Anyway, we'll shoot you some Orb Pack Love as a result. There you go. Everybody at Orb loves you and Pac-Man loves you, you know, because either you have Pac-Man in your heart or you don't, you know. By the way, I said that because I'm rewatching Mad Men, and if you've never seen Mad Men, it's just like, it's brilliant, man. Like, it's such an amazing show, and just, you know, Don Draper firing a client. I love those scenes where he fires the, oh man, is it ever good, you know. So that's one of his lines. He's like, either you have Jesus in your heart or you don't. And the guy says, I'm not sure I'm following you there, Don. He's like, you know, you are a non-believer. In other words, in the ad campaign. And then he's like, you know, I think we're finished here. Anyway, sorry. I guess you have to be there in the scene. I love that show, though. Whew. It is, you know, it's such an incredible show because it examines like the complexity of relationships and emotions, you know?
Right. Yeah. I haven't seen it in a while.
It's incredible. Yeah, it's incredible. Oh man, all right, let's move on. So I'm gonna go ahead and we're gonna do what we said we're gonna do. We're gonna start opening up. Well, I don't know, is there anything you wanna go over first? But while we're waiting, I have to load up. It's gonna take about a couple of minutes before it loads up.
I think we can talk about some other aspects of life related to composing and being a professional in this field.
Shoot. It's not for everyone. I can tell you that much. It's not for everyone.
Right. I think I told you about, well, I didn't tell you about it, but I brought it up months ago about Hans Zimmer's quote that if you can do anything else,
do it.
Do that.
Do it.
You know, if you can do anything else but music, do that.
And he's not the only one who says that. Right. He's not the only one. It's not like he just, you know, like ask anyone and they'll tell you that. It's so true. Let me actually just move this over here and put a window
Either
out.
you have it in your soul or you don't, right?
It's, well, you know what it is? Yeah, it's not about, you see, I think this is the big mistake people make, is they think it has something to do with the soul. Like, oh, you're burning, because this is like the romanticization of being an artist of Hollywood. There's nothing fucking glamorous about it. There's nothing romantic about it. It's literally just a ton of work and stress and the insane hours involved. It's positively ridiculous, by the way. And this is what I was saying to you earlier, Bobby, about it's just about the hours. You know, like there's no shortcuts, there's no line of code you can write that'll just, you know, boom. There's no hack, you know. But you also have to understand that there are, you know, many composers that never learn theory, right? And they never study tonal harmony formally, and they do just fine. And you know, I think that you have, as a composer, something that is definitely unique about the way you approach music. And look, some people just say, you know what, I'm not going to learn theory because it could take away, and it does take away. It will take some, you will lose something.
Yeah, that was my concern. And that was the question regarding harmony, about when do you have to, you know, at what point do you say to yourself, I don't know how to phrase this question, because it was part of the, are you trying to prove something to somebody? You know, are you trying to like be like, no, I know how to write harmony. I can do it in any key. I can, you know, like when does that creep up in the back of your head when you're just trying to write something that you feel?
Sure. I guess a way of thinking about it, not thinking about it, but by the way, I'm going to continue to talk, and no, let's see. I'm going to just make sure that everything is going smoothly on the other end. Why is this not? There we go. Okay, that's ready. Look, when I first started at Berklee, literally my first semester, within my first, you know, couple of moments, I suppose, I had this piece of music that I composed way back when, which, let me just see if and I remember playing it to somebody. That was the melody, and then beneath it went. So I had these two melodies that were going at the same time. And somebody said, holy, counterpoint. And I was like, what's counterpoint? They're like, oh, it's when you write two melodies at the same time. And I remember being obsessed with the idea ever since that person said that. And then we get into our first counterpoint class, and I was just like, I want to know, how can I write, you know, more than one melody? If I want to do 3 or 4 melodies at the same time. And my teacher just went like this. You have to learn how to crawl before you walk. And you have to learn how to walk before you can run. You know, and so, you know, counterpoint happens in 4 stages. I think I mentioned this to you last week, right? Right. So you learn a single line melody that outlines chords, right? Then you do 2 melodies together that also outline chords. Then you learn a third, 3 melodies, and finally 4. And this process takes 4 years. You understand? So like, again, there's no substitute for that. There's no cheat code. So look, you know, for the track you were writing for this video game project, the one you played earlier, you know, like, yeah, I mean, I don't think you particularly need to know counterpoint, but this game, as far as I understand, isn't going to happen anymore. But this game I was working on for a while, called Dark Renaissance, right? So let me see here. So if you listen to this track here. nothing to see here actually. Four times the melody plays over itself. One melody is answered by another melody. So let's see a better place here. Played on top of another melody, on top of another melody, on top of another melody. And again, like, you know, you cannot improvise a track like this. I mean, you can if you've done all the study, right? Here's another example again of the, you know, 4-part fugue writing. So listen. No. Sorry for my singing. Listen to that in the oboe. So beneath that you hear la dee da dee da dee da dee. While that's happening, da dee da dee 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 da dee da dee da dee da dee. Listen carefully. So there you have it. And then the bass is doing something entirely different. So you can't, there's no way you can improvise that. That is only after, you know, very carefully taking apart the music of Bach, specifically Bach, because he represents the epitome of, you know, contrapuntal composition, which, you know, managing multiple melodies at the same time. And, you know, I'll tell you something, Bobby. My final thesis in counterpoint, you know, was the prelude. Well, actually, it was just a 4-part fugue, but it had to be in the style of Bach. And so I thought, well, when I looked at the Well-Tempered Clavier, which is one of his most famous works, there was always a prelude, right? Before the fugue, you'd have a prelude. So I thought, I'm going to also write a prelude, right? And my prelude was, you know, something like, let me see here. Oh, I need a piano. Where are we here? I think I'm all confused again. Here we are, piano. So, you know, for example, my prelude was like something like, you know, it was this just really, really simple, you know, and that's how the Bach preludes were as well. They were very, very simple. And I remember, like, I for some reason, you know, was at my sister's house. This is, you know, maybe right after graduating. And I said, can I play you my most important composition? Because it was, like, I'd written all kinds of stuff, but that was the most important thing I achieved because it's the most difficult kind of composing to do. And so I played her the prelude and the fugue, you know, and I was like, after, I was like, so what, you know, what did you think? You know, and she's like, well, I liked the first part, you know, the gentle part. I liked it so much. I thought it was so beautiful and pretty. And it's like, I wrote that in 5 minutes. It's like, it's the fugue. It's like the 4 years of study all condensed into one, super, composition. And she liked the part that wasn't even part of the thesis. It was just like a bonus add-on I wrote in 5 minutes. I remember I was just devastated. I was like, oh, really? She's like, why? What's the matter? I was like, it was the part I worked the least on. Now, I know what you're thinking. Oh, look at all the artists who, their biggest #1 hit song, they hated it, or, maybe it's because you only spent 5 minutes on it that, it was so relatable. It's like, no, that's not it. It has to do more with the fact that why we left the music of the Baroque era and went into the classical era, because it's very difficult to listen to that kind of music and follow each melody. And it's much more simple to have an elegant, like we can follow that much, much more easily, right? Right? And so, that's easy, right? That is so simple, so elegant, so easy. And so that's the reason why. It's not because like I only spent 5 minutes on it. So it's easier to listen to. That's it, the music of Stevie Wonder is much easier to listen to than maybe the music of like Peter Tosh or the English Beat or, Metallica for that matter, or Rammstein or Nirvana, right? Although Nirvana, I mean, really, yeah, I was going to say, like, that's, to me, Nirvana is classical music in terms of like the way the melodies were structured over chords. Very, very beautiful. Kurt Cobain was just an amazing songwriter. And I think that's what people sort of miss the most, is that he was just a very, very talented songwriter. Let's catch up.
That's one of the things that I try to keep to when writing music is I realize that there's a reason why pop music is so easy, right?
Right.
So I worry when overcomplicating music takes away from.
But here's the thing, Bobby. Look, the first contrapuntal piece I played for you, I improvised the whole thing. I didn't write one note down. And I remember arguing with one of my professors telling me that there's no way you can write music that complex without putting it on paper first. And I said, well, I just did it from my ear to my computer. And he's like, only Mozart can do that. Are you comparing yourself to Mozart? Putting me on the line in front of the whole class. And I just looked at him and I was like, yeah, I am. I'm comparing myself to Mozart. I said, is there a problem in doing that, sir? And he's like, oh, you don't understand the point. You can't do that kind of, it's impossible and blah, 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 blah.
Isn't he the one that compared you to Mozart, though?
Well, good. That should have been the comeback, well, you just compared me to Mozart. So, anyway, his point was that you can't work out very complex things from your mind, in your mind, and, to his credit, there is a lot of truth in what he said. What he didn't understand was the computer was assisting my mind's work, right? So I was able to hear the melody. Exactly. So in a way, I was working it out. It's just the computer was helping me to do it. So yeah, as it turns out, I'm not a genius like Mozart. Sorry, everybody. But he put me on the spot. But here's the point. I was able to improvise 4-part contrapuntal music in the first piece I played you. And then, work on it and get it. And, it's a really incredible process how that first piece came about that I played for you guys. But the thing is, and I realize we're not getting to the point of our stream, which we should do in a minute, by the way. But regardless, the point is, Bobby, is that, theory is not going to ruin your ability to compose. It's going to strengthen it. Because when I need, and this is only if you want to be a professional composer. And this is what Hans Zimmer means. If you can do anything else, do it. Don't do this as a job. Because it's nothing but pain and struggling and blood. Piss and blood. And he doesn't know. No, he doesn't know theory. So, I mean, you know, I honestly very much doubt some of his greatest works, how much of it is really him, you know, and how much of it is his ghostwriters. I know how it works.
Being a composer, especially at that level, you know, at most he'll write a couple themes and then.
Well, that's the thing, right? Even John Williams, when John Williams was doing maybe the prequels, like he would just write, you know, da 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 da. All right, now go make it into a John Williams score. I'm gonna go and play golf, you know. Look, I'm working on a project right now where, you know, I've hired 3 people. In fact, this is my Pascal project, the production project. It is such a massive project, you know, and you know, for me, it's like it's. First of all, I'm a terrible musician, so I want to hire people that can come in and do what I cannot do. There's nothing wrong with doing that. There's nothing wrong in that at all, you know, especially if you're not a good guitar player, right?
The composer is the director of the music, right? He's the head of the department. Sure.
Look, I mean, I guess here's the difference, you know, like Beethoven, Mozart, all of them, they had copyists, right? So they would write the orchestral score and then hand it to the copyist. And that still tradition is very much alive. When I recorded Reign of Titans with the live orchestra, I wrote the full score. Every note was written by me. But it's very time consuming. And I was actually on vacation with my girlfriend at the time, and I didn't want to ruin that vacation. So I hired a guy to prepare it all for the orchestra to play live, you know. I guess here's the difference, you know, nobody helped me with Pac-Man World 2. There were no ghostwriters involved, none, you know. There were ghost sound designers, lots of them, you know, because I didn't, you know, I mean, I remember certain sounds I for sure remember doing. But, you know, there were probably 3 or 4 ghost sound designers, you know, and who, you know, didn't receive any credit because it's work for hire, man, you know. You know, the project was mine, the contract was mine, the client was mine. And here's the thing, Bobby, it's like this. If I can do every single thing, but I just don't have the time, I'm not going to give credit to somebody because I can do it. It's just you're helping me save time. That's it. So it's like no different than like a butler or a tailor. I know it sounds terrible, right? But that's just how it is. You know, like people get busy. They don't have enough time to do things. Plus, they also want to give other people opportunities, right? Like for me, I've always hired students. That's always been my rule. Hire students because they're great. They work hard. They're cheap. And they'll get the work done. And you've given them experience, right? So, you know, Jason, one of the sound designers on Pac-Man World 2, he was, Jason, oh my gosh, it's so long ago. Anyway, I just hired him on my staff. So he was on my payroll, in fact. Actually, when I had to let him go, he claimed unemployment insurance on me. So then I had to pay his unemployment. It was really like, because California has all these sort of protectionisms and it's a very blue state. Anyway, so he just took the maximum out of me. It was like really not cool. I was like, dude, just find another fucking job. He's like, it's my right to. I'm like, yeah, well, I'm not hiring a student again. Fuck that. Anyway, no, but the point is that, you know, he forever, for the rest of his life, he can put down one of his credits as Pac-Man World 2, right? Now, if somebody opens up the box and they see it says David Logan Music, and he says, yeah, but I was hired by that company. And if they call me, I just remembered his last name now, but it's not important and it doesn't matter. And I don't want people Googling him and shit. I bet they're already, Jason, Pac-Man World 2, sound design. They're trying. Anyway, if one of his future employers called me and said, by the way, I'm thinking of hiring this guy, Jason, he claims to have done this on Pac-Man. Is it true? I would have said, absolutely true. He's a great asset. He was really helpful to me. I could not have finished Pac-Man World 2 without him, because that's literally all the truth. So, but it's not enough to the point that they deserve the credit. It's literally, they're just helping me because I'm the supervising sound designer. I oversee everything. I say yes, no, maybe before I give it to Namco even. You understand? So anyway, let's do this. Let's switch gears a little because we haven't done what we said we're going to do. I want to catch up a little bit on the... Okay, so yeah, Spin said he found the Pac-Man World 2 accordion, which is great. Because we've been searching hard for that one. Let's see. Some sketches, practicing a lot of Pac anatomy. Ooh, Wandy, Pac anatomy. Very good. Let's see. Yoshi says, everyone's always talks about the Re-Pac version of your songs. Where's the acknowledgement of the composer of the compressed GBA versions? I don't know. As far as I remember, I even have it right here. Yeah, the GBA. So you mean this one right here? As far as I recall, it was they just took my original score. And they just kind of, I don't know, took the sample rates down or whatever. But it all sounded like my original music on that. So I don't know about... there is a guy who got credited for that. I remember seeing him being credited as music for Pac-Man World 2. But then it just said like technical something only, like as in not the composer. Music exchange, play the lead fiddle, it's okay. I like your funny stories. The stuff we don't know about David Logan and how he got to his point. Well, there it is, Nick, right? I tend to go off on tangents a lot where, look, here we are 30 minutes into the stream and we haven't even done one thing we said we were going to do. And that's how it goes, guys. But, it's because I'm pretty eccentric, I suppose, and I go off topic. And when I'm teaching in university, some people love that about me because it keeps the class fresh. And other students hate about it to the point that they complain to the administrators. And I always, they contact me about it. They're like, your students are complaining. I'm like, about what? They're like, well, you don't stay on topic. And I'm like, yeah, well, that's how it is. I said, I like to keep the class fresh and interesting. And sometimes I go off point. And anyway, I always said that the day that teaching is no longer fun, I'll quit forever. Or if they hand me a textbook and say, you have to use the Aaron Marks game audio textbook, I would just quit on the spot and just be like, yeah, see ya. There's a lot of things you don't know about me and how I got to this point in my life and how I get to my points when I'm talking. David Logan lore is always needed. Connections are important, sure. Reminds me of the even Einstein asked questions. Of course, the smartest people in the world are the ones who always say what they don't know and ask a question about it. Those are the smartest people. Just last week, I think Bobby and I were talking and he used a word that I never heard. And I just said, hey, Bobby, sorry, what is that? I never heard that word before. Do you remember that, Bobby? Ephemeral. Because I think that, yeah, it was ephemeral, right? And I was like, well, I don't know what that means, Most people just feel like, and keep going in the conversation. Because they don't want to stop the conversation and, interrupt it. And more importantly, they don't want to look stupid. So they don't interrupt and they just nod. But if I don't know a word, I think it's a form of disrespect to the person speaking. Because I'm just pretending that I know. and a key word like ephemeral, which now I forgot what ephemeral means. If you explain one more time, I'll probably remember forever. What does ephemeral mean?
Something that disappears.
Okay.
It's not static. It's
Not of substantive importance, maybe, or
no. It's so in networking we have ephemeral IPs and static IPs, right? So one that just gets assigned, it comes and goes. Something that's ephemeral, it just comes and goes.
Got it.
It's not like written.
The explaining it that way, static and ephemeral. I remember when I became a licensed authorized developer for Sony, and was getting my Sony dev tools and everything. I remember they wouldn't approve me because I didn't have a static IP. They had to know, right? Because my ISP would assign. Now I get it, ephemeral IP. And so they said, you need a static IP. So I had to switch providers. I think I went from Verizon to AT&T because Verizon didn't offer static, and I had to switch, because if I was like choosing, should I become a Sony developer or should I stay with Verizon? It's like, yeah, I'm going to dump the Verizon. Okay, ephemeral, I get it now. Anyway, my point is, I would think it would be disrespectful to just sit there nodding while you're talking when I don't know the word. So for me, it's a form of respect, the interruption. Like, I want to fully understand what you're saying to me because it's important to me. So could you explain? So yeah, I think the smartest people in the world have no problem asking questions. Also, they have no problem appearing stupid. Like, I'm not saying I'm one of the smartest people in the world. I'm just saying that I think yes, Einstein asked questions, one of my, I don't even know if this is true or false, but they're, floating around on the internet, there's this wonderful, we're so far behind here. Let's just catch up on the chat. I was going to go further and deeper. Let's see, reminds me of, yes, Einstein did ask questions. It's okay to admit no one is an island and you always need help. It's true, Nick, you always need help. And the shall not be named movie sound designer. Yeah, okay. One of your students did chat in, oh, really? Thank you. That's good to know. I'm gonna just quickly pop open the Discord because that's actually really important just to see what's going on there. Okay, what else did we miss here? Well, how about this? Let's yeah, I have to teach them the
Pac-Man, no?
Yes, we're going to look at the Pac-Man. So let's do this. I will go ahead and share my screen with everybody. And all right, so here we are. Spin. Take notes. Here we go. Let's just go top down, shall we? So flute, we have the bandi, the bandi, I don't know how that's actually said. Wait, let me pull the window over here so you can also, oh man, I hate it when this happens. My all my plugins get cut off at the top. It's really weird. You can't even imagine what's happening on my other screen. Let me see if I can do this in a slightly different way. No, because I have my plugins on the other screen, and now I can't even, can I redraw? No. So what do I do here? I'm running, here we go. No, again. I can't even believe this. So unfortunately, I can't bring the plugin window and I have no idea why it's doing this. So the only thing I can do at this point is turn off the screen sharing on one of my monitors. It's really, really weird. Like the top bar of the plugin window, like I can't move it. I can't find it or move it. Oh, wait, I got it. There we go. Cool. All right. Crisis averted. So let's do this. Let me first of all move that away. And let's go here. All right, cool. So, all right, so here we go. So we have band D, and this is from Heart of Asia, as I recall. Here it is, the band dash D space F A. Then we have the hunting pipe, which as I recall is from Heart of Africa. Next we have the flute with vibrato. I believe this is either from Miroslav, but it could be from McGill Classical Sounds. And anyway, just log this flute W-VIB or vibrato. I think it might be from the McGill Sounds, if I'm not mistaken. But anyway, I can always double check later. For sure, I use things from the McGill Classical Sound Library, which was a sample cell library. Might have also been for Akai. I don't remember exactly. So, okay, string pizzicato ins. I honestly don't remember which library this is. This could have been the Sidliacek. I don't remember, honestly. Let me just listen to it also. I don't honestly remember which library this is, unfortunately. That's the same thing. So the strings for sure are from the Peter Sidliacek, so that PS is for the Peter Sidliacek. This is from just, I don't even know what it was called. It was just called like Peter Sidliacek Orchestra. And it was sort of like a highlight of some of the best sounds that were done for the Roland series, because he was the guy who, yes, the Miroslav back in the day, it was closer to 5,000 if you bought every one of the expansions. There were some expansions like solo instruments, and anyway, it was very expensive. So anyway, so for sure that was from the Peter Sidliacek. And he did all the stuff with Eric Persing for the Roland series. Piano, as we know, it says it right there. This is the Giga piano from Giga Studio. So that's for sure. That's what that is. So the Giga sample. Okay, so here it is, harp MG. The MG refers to McGill. This is the McGill harp sound. And that leads me to believe that this flute with vibrato may in fact be from the McGill, I think it was called McGill Classical Sounds, if I'm not mistaken. Okay, one of the most underrated synths of all time, the Roland Sound Canvas. So if you know what sound fonts are, or general MIDI, this was sort of the sound set that went into several computer operating systems. It was so common and everywhere. And this is one of my favorite, pad sounds. I use it on literally, like, I use this on everything forever. So beautiful, simple. Oh man, I love this thing. And it just fills out the sound. And you don't even know it's there until you mute it. And with it, I love it. So this, definitely write this down. Well, Spin's going to get everything. So this is the warm pad. This is the warm pad from the Roland Sound Canvas. And they discontinued this, by the way. So I'm sorry. Maybe I shouldn't say this. I'm not going to say this. Maybe I'll get in legal trouble. But they have discontinued this. And let's just say I found another way of getting it to work that Roland couldn't figure out. And it always amazes me that these big technology companies can't figure out really simple things that you can figure out how to get it. Anyway, Roland has officially discontinued this. And probably I'll never upgrade my machine because I don't want to lose this, although I know how to get it back. Anyway, not the point. Okay, so The bass, I am, this is the hood boom. I think you were asking about this, what's hood boom? This is from Bass Legends, another Spectrasonics classic. MM is for Marcus Miller. Okay, he was one of the session bass players. So there was Abe Laboriel Sr., there was Marcus Miller, there was John Petitucci, and there might have been another I forgot on Bass Legends. Those are the three ones that are like just incredible. By the way, I was in the same class as Abe Laboriel Jr., who is now the drummer for Paul McCartney, by the way, and worked on one project with Abe while we were both at Berkeley. Just, you know, the closest I'll ever get to the Beatles. That's the closest I will ever get to the Beatles. So, you know, anyway, so that's MM. The big mystery of the Malaysian. Didn't I say I found I said I found out where it's from. Oh, right. The Bob Clearmountain percussion and bass. That's what this is from, the Mal finger cymbal.
Can you just hear some of those instruments?
Yes, of course, of course. So, yeah, this is the Malaysian finger cymbal or bell. So I mixed that with a glockenspiel. Oops. Right? So you get them together and you get this. Now, here's the thing, and you know, poor Spin is going to be so upset by this. And by the way, I think I was out of the range, which is why we didn't hear this. I think so, yeah. Let's hear it again. So it's a glockenspiel with the Malaysian finger cymbal. So Spin is going to be devastated to find this out. He's going to start to cry. Brace yourself, Spin. You're going to cry. True Strike is a modern library. Came out well after Pac-Man. But for me, it's what I was trying to explain to you about the accordion. It's like a glockenspiel is a glockenspiel. It's like the one sample to the next is not going to be earth-shatteringly different. So more than likely, I would say the original glockenspiel either came from the Miroslav or the McGill instruments. All right. Of course, the very famous jaw harp or buzz harp. And I don't know why I have it twice. I don't know why it's in there two times, but anyway, this is from the X sample series, as I think we have figured that out already. The castanets. This, I think, is from the Bob Clearmountain kit. Anytime you see perk.kit, either it's Steve Reed or Bob Clearmountain. It's one of the two. Now, the very famous clicky hats. This is from Percussive Adventures, and I don't remember if it's volume 1, 2, or 3, but you'll figure that out in 2 seconds. Of course you will. Spin will figure that out in 2 seconds. The BJ is not what you're thinking. Get your mind out of the gutter, kids. That's for Benny and June. So the Benny and June comedy kit, that's what that is. I say famous because this is such a part of the track, you know? So, all right. Then we have the cowbells. Also from the Benny and June. With the clicky hats, you get this. It's such an important part of the track, too. And I really, really am grateful to... actually, I don't even know who made Percussive Adventures. If it was East West or... Because East West has the... They own it now. Probably East West. Ben and Jerry's, good for you, Nick. So the perk kit is from the Bob. All right, thank you, Spin. All right, then we have, of course, the Dal bongos. So this is literally me playing on a session years ago, and then I just took all the samples and just replaying them. So that's from the, what are we calling it? The DAW private library, I think is what it's called. I forgot what we called it. Next up is the Craze drum, which, as we know, is from Distorted Reality. I think it's volume 1, maybe volume 2. I think it's 1. So we have 2 instances of the Craze drum. You know, just the way all these work together. You know, the bongos come in. Clicking hat, castanets, bug harp or jaw harp. So it's just, this is, guys, this is Pac-Man. I mean, this is at the heart of Pac-Man. The DAW private library sounds about right. It sounds very official too, no? All right.
Yeah.
So this is all from, again, the DAW private library. And specifically, if you want to get really detailed spin, there's a recording studio in Los Angeles called 1-on-1 South. They used to be called Brooklyn Recording Studios. Anyway, I spent a day there recording all my drums and percussion. So this is all from the 1-on-1 South. So you can call it DAW 101 if you want. And again, these are all my private samples. And you know what I should do? I should put the orb logo here because, you know, I did spend a lot of time on these icons for the snare. See that? Drum head is an orb. You know, get it? All right. I don't even have an orb hi-hat logo. Do I have an orb symbol? Oh, yeah, I do. This looks close enough to a hi-hat. No? All right. Very good. Okay. So there you go. What else do we got here? So I think that's it for this guy. Yeah, that's everything. So what you see below, by the way, is basically a copy. This is all in the native Logic sampler. And it's such a terrible sampler, I've decided to no longer use it. And I'm putting everything, actually I spent the whole summer, Bobby, you remember, building all those patches. Anyway, cool. So that's it for this one. I think, yeah, we got through everything there. Let's go on to the next. And let's see here, where are we? So Pac-Man World 2, there we go. Canyon Chaos. Let's see if there's anything on there that we don't know about. Any questions in the meantime? Have I missed anything in the chat? Anybody have a question? Or we're all up to date?
Yeah.
Oh, you know what? Very quickly, I want to just move the Discord away and while this is loading. Anyway, it's going to take a few moments to load. So if you guys did have any questions, or Bobby, if you want to ask me anything.
I have a question. When Yas first heard the percussion, do you recall his, was he like, oh yeah, this is, because I said this a while ago, if I heard that percussion, I wouldn't think Pac-Man.
Right.
But then with the music, with everything, it's so Pac-Man.
Right.
And I'm curious, you know, if anybody else during that process thought to themselves,
You know, my interactions with both.
Very intense, but for what I would traditionally think of as Pac-Man.
Right. You know, I don't know. Like, I don't remember precisely. Like, okay, so the way both Yas and Glenn would sort of work is, you know, they would listen and then a lot of it was done through email. So if you want, I could even read you some of those emails responses, because I had an Excel spreadsheet that I tracked everything. You know, and half of this job, you guys, is just being organized. You know, it's being able to find, like, the fact that I could reconstruct this entire soundtrack in Logic in modern DAW is a testament to how organized I am. It's really a testament to how precise I am about the archival process. And yeah, because for me, I guess I am comparing myself to Mozart. I see myself 300 years from now, people performing Pac-Man World 2. No, I'm joking. But I suppose what I'm getting at is that I think about posterity. I think about, you know, like, you know, in my will, you and Emanuele will inherit all my licenses and, you know, all of this. You guys receive all of that. And, but I'm going to leave the Pac-Man World 2 library to you guys, all, of course, you and Emanuele. But I'm going to leave a copy to Spin in my will, that he should get a full copy of it. And all the MIDI files, I'll release them all for sure. And so that literally anybody that wants to recreate Pac-Man World 2, they can do it. I'm not ready to do that yet. So, but anyway, you know, the emails back and forth got so much that I had to make a tracker. So, by the way, I'm just looking at the Discord. Who mentioned that one of my students was there? Because I don't see that at all. I just see the last thing was from Spin saying, I see, we'll move on from here. I didn't actually see any student comments in there from any of my students. But anyway, so yeah, in terms, so a lot of it was done through email, Bobby. And, you know, there would be comments like, well, what the hell, man? Let me find the sheet. And then you'll sort of really understand exactly. Let's see here. Where are we here? We're going here, Pac-Man, and docs maybe. Okay, there it is. See, even that I can find. So music assets. All right. This is from the version, for whatever reason, 14th of November, 2001. All right, so I will read you some of the basic comments that I received, and then I think it'll help you understand a little bit better. So first of all, there's a color coding system that I set up to mark whether or not an asset was approved or not approved. Or so let's do this. Let's.
You picked up with Activision, right?
This is, yeah. So yes and no, but yes, I'll just say yes. Yeah. So for example, and I don't want to really share my screen on this one, for a number of reasons, but so there's the asset code. In this case, it's PAC_TRE_main, which is pack tree main. And let's see here. Okay, so here it is. Here's one of the first comments was, oops. Why can't I? Oh, there we go. Okay, general comments, and this is on the very first, I think, iteration. So general comments, melody, melody, melody. Melody needs to be present in the song at all times. Unless we explicitly discuss the need to de-emphasize the melody in advance. Imagine that all of the sounds from our games contains an evolving vocal line that repeats and restates the main melody for the song. Okay, there it is. Very specific, very specific. Arrangements should not be too sparse. Mid-range instruments should be present to support the main melody. Avoid long instrumental percussion breaks. So there were some short ones, but not long. Anyway, that gives you an idea of kind of, they were very particular, and it's in general, Japanese people and Japanese game developers. I mean, gaming is part of Japanese culture. Yas is Japanese, and they're very particular, very particular. And Yas was like an amateur guitar player, and so he would play. I actually produced a demo for him where he played some of his songs in my studio, and I basically made a nice little 3-song demo for him, sort of like my way of thanking him, for the business and working with me on Pac-Man and stuff like that. So anyway, so he was very, very important in terms of the the process, because he would say these very detailed, more melody, make the percussion breaks not so long, make them shorter.
Is it easier to work with somebody?
Way easier. Well, no. So I'll take it back. It's easier to work with someone that knows what they want. It's difficult to work with somebody that knows the difference between a 7 chord and a major 7 flat 5, or a minor 7 flat 5, sorry. So yeah, it was a very long and tedious and drawn out process, the music, and it was literally just 24 hours a day, nothing but Pac-Man music. So, but I think in the end, it all worked out. So, but yeah, it was it's the most difficult game I've ever done. The music was simple enough, but it's like literally there's hundreds and hundreds and pages of just the comments, of what they wanted and what they didn't like and what they liked and what they thought could be improved, etc. But let's do this. Let's because I want to get at least one more, so that we can at least say we got some things done. So of course, we remember that it was Spin who said for sure. It was the JV 3080 or 1080 pipes. By the way, this sound is basically been migrated from the JV 1080, then to the 2080, then it got into the 3080, and then finally the 5080. They're all the same series. They just added on each time. They put more and more stuff. So the 1080 pipes, they're the same ones in the XV 5080. As was the 3080. And the 3080, wait, let me switch my view here. There we go. The 3080 is still right there in the rack. The one on the very top underneath that red one. That's the 3080. It's still a permanent fixture in my studio. I love the 3080. I also have a 5080, a real 5080 as well. And that is right down there above the sort of gray ones that I'm pointing. Actually, right there, my finger's on it right now. Yeah, so all the original hardware stuff. Anyway, so the pan pipes are in fact the XV50 or 1080. Take your pick. Then we have the. This is from the Roland family of instruments, the BRS, anything that starts with the BRS underscore is going to be from the Roland. So that's the trombone stab 1A. So then we go to strings and we have what? So this is also from the Roland library, the strings pizzicato 1AS. And I believe you said you found the accordion. You said where's the accordion? I forgot where you said it's from, but there you go. You found it. So then also from let's just call it the Roland 80 series, because there's so many of them. All right, but in this case, the 5080. But from the 3080 is actually the rack unit that was actually used. So we'll call it 3080, or you can call it the 30/5080, whatever you want. I don't care. Anyway, Childlike, which is 081. And then, as I mentioned last week, the D71 Plick Plock, and which has a really unique sound. I love the Plick Plock. I mean, that is so iconic. This is so absolutely iconic in terms of the Pac-Man soundtrack. And you know what I'm surprised? Is that I'm surprised they didn't say like, well, the droplet belongs in the ocean world because it's sort of watery. I'm surprised I didn't get that as a comment. Now, Spin, don't take out a hit on me. You know, don't go on the dark web and take out a hit on me so that, you know, you get all the sounds in the will. You know, don't get too excited about that, all right? You know, I'm just saying. Anyway, so that's D127 droplet. You know, it's incredible because, you know, this is literally I think like in the XV3080, this might be the second to last sound. What does that tell you? Because the first, I think the 3080 had A, B, and C, and D. And then I think the 5080 put E, F, G, and H on there. So what this tells you is that literally I went through every single sound in the unit to be able to arrive to the second to last one. Do you understand, you guys? Like that's kind of like how I roll, if you will. All right, cool. The bass is, what is the bass? This is the John Patitucci, again, Spectrasonics Bass Legend. Bass Legends. This is the JP is John Patitucci, 6-string fretless A. And if you want to hear that. Super simple. Love it. All right, then we have, of course, the famous jaw harp again from the X sample. And by the way, there's the patch, the actual patch. If you want to write that down, you can, you know, take a screenshot if you want. Spin JF F high and low brackets C1 D sharp 1. Then we have a suspended cymbal, which is from the David Logan private library, which also didn't load in this case, which is kind of crazy. So as I recall anyway, yeah, it's from the, pretty sure it is anyway. So let's go AAA game libraries. We'll go to Pac-Man World 2. We'll go to percussion, cymbals. Oh, there's so many of them too. Sus cymbal. Maybe I don't have it in here. There were, let's try this one. I think that might be Miroslav though. Let's see here. Actually, yeah, nope. Maybe it's this guy here. Let's try. There we go. Yeah, this is from the private David Logan library. The way you know that is I had this system where all my percussion instruments would have special characters in front. So for example, cymbals would be plus, maybe kick drums would be equal sign. I had all these sort of weird naming conventions. This is before Activision, mind you. So, yeah, that's from the David Logan private library. So then we have Craze Drum, you know already. The Perk 1, let's see, what is that? That's the Benny and June again. I don't know why it's called Perk 1, but anyway. Then we have June, the Quickie hats, then the cowbells, as you know. That is just so, it's just so funny. It's so random. All right, Perk 3. This is, I believe, the Clear Mountain kit. kit 8. Then we have my Dow bongos again. Let me just make the attack is a little bit off. Better. Okay, very good. Actually, maybe I should load these. I think that's the old version there. I'm going to go and load these from the actual proper orb library. Let me just do that because this is the old version that I'm playing right here. The new version obviously has the nicer bongos, A, B, C, and this is bongos A. There we go. Wonderful. I mean, listen to the phrase, listen to all those tones. That's the thing about learning how to play real bongos and real congas is it's all about tone. How much different sounding tones I'm getting out of it. Okay, and then we have the same DAW private library for the hats and the main drum set. Cool, and that's it for that. Let's see, this is good because every time I load up a new one, it takes several minutes to load up a new one. And then we can read the chat and we can ask questions and then all that good stuff.
Master says something that probably we can't do. I hope you release your full Re-Pac soundtrack and then someone is able to mod the PC version with your Re-Pac soundtrack.
You know,
probably outside of our...
Yeah. I guess, look, man, there's a lot of... This is the sad thing, man, is that, you know, big tech does not love gaming culture. They just love to make money. That's it. And it's so sad because, you know, games are an art form. Games are art. And anyone who disputes that is a fucking idiot, you know? Anyone who says that games are not real art is just a complete fucking idiot, in my view.
They're as much art as cinema or...
100%. Yeah, exactly. If you're going to call cinema an art form, well, gaming is a way more advanced and you need way more skills, I think, to make a game than you do. You need more people. You need more time. I mean, look at GTA 6. Like, over a decade of development, you know, I mean, I guess you have like Avatar that was also a decade in development. The second one, The Way of Water, whatever it was called. I don't know. Anyway,
but they're doing the 2, 3, 4 all at once.
Oh, did they? Okay, something like that.
Because of the child, I think. He
got it. So. Fair enough. Anyway, look, you know, Brahms, the composer. So look, you have to understand something about Beethoven's Ninth Symphony. After that was released, nobody wrote symphonies. For like 20 years, nobody even attempted a symphony because that's how much of an impact that symphony had on the world. And it's often considered to be one of the highest achievements in all the arts, like all arts combined, like Beethoven. Some even call it one of the highest achievements of humanity, never mind. And I don't think it's far-fetched to say any of those things. And then when you consider the guy was like completely fucking deaf, I mean, whoa. Yeah. Now, why am I telling you this? Because Brahms, who stood in the shadow of Beethoven, as every composer did, he spent a decade and a half, 15 years on one symphony. 15 years in development. He wrote other stuff, don't get me wrong, string quartets, piano concertos, whatever, you name it. But for his first symphony, 15 years. Can you imagine? So, which is not to say that, if you work really long on something, it'll be better somehow. It's not the point, I suppose. I forgot. Well, the point is about games being an art form. But I guess, yeah, me saying that they're more difficult, I guess the point is, if you look at the people making, Rockstar GTA 6, they're just that devoted and dedicated. They keep postponing it because they want it to be perfect. They want it to be perfect, like literally perfect. They probably want to go down in history as, having made one of the greatest games ever made, period, end of story. I think it's going to be a flop. I don't know. I just get this feeling. I think so. Well, why do I say this? The same reason that The Phantom Menace was a flop. The same reason that, Attack of the Clones and The Force Awakens and all of them were flops. Compared to the original Star Wars, they were flops, man. And outright 7, 8, and 9 rejected by the fans. Outright rejection,
The Disney mirror.
But here's the point. They had J.J. frickin' Abrams, and they had unlimited money, basically a money printer of Disney, right? And they couldn't make a good movie.
Because they had no soul.
It had no soul.
They were there to make a good movie. They were there to make a Star Wars sequel.
You know why also? Because they injected politics, and you should never do that. It's just a bad fucking idea. George Lucas was not making a political statement. He was making an artistic statement. He was talking about the sort of eternal quest that humanity undergoes, the nature of good and evil. And if that is interpreted as being Democrat or Republican or whatever, whoever's good and whoever's evil, I mean, that's in your own head. That's not what he was trying to do. He was not trying to do that. In fact, he based Star Wars on 3 incredible books. The Hero's Journey by Joseph Campbell, the Tao Te Ching, which was written 2,600 years ago, and the Bible, and the Bhagavad Gita, 4 great books. Really, the Bhagavad Gita might be the closest to Star Wars as you can get. Because I've read the Bhagavad Gita, and it's an incredible book. It's unbelievable. It's the story of Arjuna, who's a prince warrior. And, in ancient Sanskrit and in the Hindu religion, there's something called dharma, which can be interpreted into English in several different ways. It can mean truth, it can mean righteousness, almost law or universal law. It's not karma, it's dharma. It's a different idea. And so his uncle, Arjuna's uncle, who's Dhritarashtra, is an evil man, and he's raping and pillaging the lands and causing chaos and fear in everyone. And so there's an imbalance in the Dharma. Okay, so Dharma is obviously the force, right? And Dhritarashtra is obviously, the evil empire, Vader / Palpatine. And of course, Arjuna is Luke. And the whole book is just a series of dialogues between Luke's spirit guide, I shit you not, Krishna. Okay, Krishna is the spirit guide. And my favorite line of all time from that book is, "He who kills and he who thinks he can be killed, neither man knows the truth." Sort of saying like the soul is eternal, and it's like, yeah, your body might die, but that doesn't mean anything. Anyway, so, Arjuna says, "I cannot kill my own uncle." Sounds like very familiar, doesn't it? Like, I cannot kill he is my father, then the emperor has already won, So the spirit guide is obviously Obi-Wan / Yoda, right? And it's such an incredible book. Anyway, and then Lao Tzu, for example, the so-called, because we don't know 100% if he really wrote the Tao Te Ching. It is literally like from ancient to modern Chinese to English, it translates to Old Man Like Child. That's what his name was, the guy who wrote the book. And you see pictures of him, and he's always hunched over with a cane. Yoda, like, so it's clear Lucas read these incredible books. And anyway, see me off topic, not on the point. Anyway, I forgot what the point was, about art. Yeah, games are art, like, just end of story, man. So, and the problem with 789 is they put politics. They put modern politics and modern ideologies into, and again, like, it doesn't matter what ideologies, like whatever ones you happen to think of or feel, then, your side is always right. Isn't that how it works in the world now? Like, I'm right, you're wrong, and my whole point of life is to prove you wrong. So yeah, games are art, all that. Yeah, go on.
Appease everyone and resonate with no one.
There you go. That's right. That's great. All right, so let's do this. I think it's loaded finally. Yes, it is. But where's the main window is gone? Oh, there it is. All right, cool. All right, guys, let's try and get this one done. And this is Pac-Dot. Pac-Dot Pond. And let me push this button. There we go. Excellent. All right, so let's start up at the top with the woodwinds here. So we have the aft pipe, as I'm sure you figured out. Spin already knows. He knows everything. Can't get one by him. Trumpet stabs, for sure, 100%, the Roland Library. Pizzicato is that Pizzicato ins. Again, I'm not sure. Probably this Italy check.
Can we hear the strings real quick?
Yeah. And another iconic Pac-Man. No, this is so Pac-Man-y. Something is clearly not assigned to the right instrument here. And it's our job to figure out which one. All right, so this is the, again, Spin. Remember how I said an accordion is just an accordion? And I didn't remember which one I used? This is from SRX World. This is like a XV5080 expansion pack, because I don't remember the original. And probably I should go back and try and figure out which accordion it was. But anyway, we have Childlike again. We have the same 6-string fretless bass. The marimba, probably the Miroslav, if I'm not mistaken. We have the Mal Bell. And then we have some of these drums. So this is, again, from the 101 South. The 101 South. The Dow Private Library. And I don't know, I think this is wrong, but whatever. Doesn't sound like it's the right. This is right, this for sure is right. But you see, this would have had a delay on it, which I didn't do. So then we have the jaw harp, as we always do. Okay, now here's where we ran into trouble, where there's definitely something wrong. That's correct. This is the thing that's for sure is wrong. Yeah, that's really wrong. So then now the question becomes, what is the right instrument? And I don't know. I don't know what I used here. But this is clearly wrong. I'm going to mute it for now. The Dow bongos, that's the same. Let's listen to this kit as well. That's for sure correct. Then we have more castanets, which are also correct. Then we have the That Sounds Right. That's from the Bob Clear Mountain. Let's see if the cymbal roll is correct here. Yeah, that's from the Private. And that's it for this guy. So I think, yeah, it was just a couple things that really were out of place. And that doesn't sound right. That doesn't, I don't know why that didn't sound right to me. Sounds right here, but then that doesn't sound right. That's for sure wrong. I don't think that's correct. And it could have been a translation error. Could have been just an error in the translation. Like, I don't know, because the first part sounds right. I mean, let's do this. What we should be doing really is let's listen to the original, no? Let's see. Oops. Can't seem to operate my mouse tonight. Pac-Pond. And that was around where that was at. All right, around 40 seconds. It's correct. Wow. It is correct. It just sounds perhaps brighter. It definitely sounds different. And I don't remember if this was the Bob Clear Mountain or the Steve Reed, where all these kits came from. I don't remember. I want to think, I thought it was Clear Mountain, but it might actually be the Steve Reed, because the Steve Reed always had these weird pannings, like really strange pan information. So, but I know 100% that Spin is going to figure that out. He's gonna get to the bottom of it. All right, let's see. Does this work? Yeah. Okay, we're good. So, yeah, I think we're good for tonight. Let's maybe take a few questions, or anyone have comments?
Yes, if anybody has any questions. Hey, JT Scott.
Hey, JT Scott, how's it going, man? Nice to see you here. So Spin says the perk kits are all from the Bob. All right, thanks. That's good to know. I don't know why I thought they were from the Reed, but anyway. MP3 compression might take some brightness off. Well, there's no MP3 compression. Oh, you mean in the what I just played? Yeah, no, it wouldn't be to that degree. Certainly not. And we can also go. Yeah, 100%. I can tell you that the compression is not going to make that much of a drastic difference. Honestly, I don't really hear much difference between MP3 and, compressed and uncompressed.
There's a test on the website where you can listen to uncompressed and MP3, and they'll give you like 10 songs.
Yeah.
And I have taken that test many, many times.
And?
They're the same songs, right?
Yeah.
And I get 50%.
Yeah, I can't hear the difference, man.
Really, really sit and listen.
Yeah.
Between the 256 a day.
Yeah, sure. I really don't hear the difference at all.
It's mostly transparent.
Yeah, I always say this, that if you are a person who can hear the difference between a WAV file and at 48K and 44.1, you can actually hear the difference. Like, you're not making any music in your life. You're literally sitting in a lab and with your high-tech speakers and your headphones, and you're measuring shit with an oscilloscope, and that's not how music is made. It's just not, that's not music, man. That's nothing, you know? So I always say that. A friend of mine in Los Angeles, you know, told me about an experiment. This is, by the way, the assistant to Bob Clearmountain, the guy who made that library that I used on Pac-Man. He was his assistant for about 7 years. And Bob Clearmountain, for example, all you got to say is "Born in the USA." That's one of his biggest songs that he mixed. Anyway, so this, I'm saying this is coming from a very good source. Anyway, his assistant, his name is Ryan, and he told me about this guy who basically got, you know, some of the not best, but some of the better mix engineers in LA, and hooked up 3 sets of speakers, identical speakers with identical amps and identical music being played into the amps, and did a speaker wire test. And on one used sort of off-the-shelf stock wire. The other was using like $250 a foot monster cable. And then the third was coat wires, coat hangers. No one could hear the difference. None of them. So there you go. Where you might run into certain kinds of things where more expensive cables might be, you know, worth it. Ground hum, balanced versus unbalanced. You know, balanced cables have a third ground on it. And so there are 3 cables instead of just 2 cables inside. You'll get less, well, you get no ground noise theoretically. So yeah, I think that anyone who can hear the difference, yeah, they're just not making any music.
I question how many people actually can hear the difference when doing a blind test.
I bet no one. Well, you know, they say, what I heard, you know, the CD player was invented by Sony and Philips. It was like sort of a joint project between them. And, you know, Sony's a Japanese company, and Philips is a Northern European. I don't know if they're German or from the Netherlands, somewhere in Europe. Anyway. But the reason now that we have, like, you know, 24-bit, 192 kilohertz is they did some testing to see if people could not hear the difference, but have a more favorable reaction. And they seem to think that people had a more favorable reaction to the higher the sample rate. I don't know, man. I don't know if I buy it. But anyway, listen, I've been working at 16-bit, 44.1 my entire career. And the reason why, that's exactly what every one of my clients asks me for. That is the CD standard, what's called Red Book audio. And it's been around for a long time, man, long time. And it works for me. And of course, the television standard is 24-bit, 48 kilohertz. The whole reason we have 2 different sample rates, most people don't know the reason, but digital audio tape, when they were making it, there were lobbyists, the recording whatever of, you know, America lobby in the recording arts, were worried that this new digital audio tape player, people could make digital 1-to-1 copies of CDs. And so the solution was, we'll make it at a different sample rate. So if they try, they'll just, it won't sound like the original song. It'll sound, you know, whatever, you know, a semitone and a half higher, whatever the difference is. And so that was their solution. Terrible solution. But that's why digital audio tape players did 48 kilohertz. That's why we still use it to this very day. It comes from the original DAT, the DAT, which was only 16-bit, by the way, back in the day. And I discovered Red Book terminology with World One when people talk about uncompressed. Yes, exactly. So Red Book audio is what's known as pulse code modulation, or fully uncompressed digital audio information. So you can call it PCM, you can call it Redbook, you can just 44.1, 16-bit. There's a million ways of calling the same thing, you know. So yeah, I think if anyone can hear the differences between these things, yeah, they're not making any music in their life. They're not doing anything probably of any importance. Sorry to judge, but you know, it's just how I feel. The AF pipe, the one and only. Anybody else? Did we miss anything in the chat? If I missed any question, this is your, you know, like final opportunity to ask me something before I sign off. Cool. All right then. Well, now I know for sure. You know what, Nick? About Redbook, you mean? Yeah. Anyway, I've never changed my sample rate. So many people are like, why do you work at, like, everybody does 24-bit 48. I'm like, I don't fucking care. You know, I don't care what other people do. What I care about is what my clients ask me for, you know, and it has never changed, not once. So what does that tell you? That 16-bit 44.1 is a perfectly acceptable and legitimate format. I think like even Apple Music, you know, is 16-bit. I think they went to 24-bit eventually, but they're still 44.1. That's still the sample rate. Right. So, and I know for a very long time, it was 16-bit, but I think they changed to 24-bit not too long ago.
If you submit spatial audio, Dolby Atmos, it has to be
24.
24-bit.
Right, but if it's stereo, 16-bit is fine. Okay, I knew there was some change, and this whole Dolby Atmos thing, what a nothing burger that's going to be.
Dolby Atmos is great for film and television. It's not good for music. It's just not.
Well, but you see these people who are like, you know, like outfitting their studio with the Atmos rigs, and here's the point. And
you can listen to it in an Atmos environment, right? If you have that setup.
But who is going to do? But what consumer? I mean, honestly, it's only for cinephiles maybe and audiophiles. Like the average person, I'm sorry, they're just not going to set up a Dolby. Who has the space in their living room? You know, like no one, you know. And
I mean, I have.
Yeah, but most people live in most people in the middle and lower classes live in small little apartments, man. Look, I even in my studio here, I don't have the space to do Atmos. And I've been a professional because everything in Europe is tiny size, right? Like everything is tiny size. Like you have a tiny fridge. Nobody has a dryer in Italy. Like not everyone even has a washing machine. And your cupboards are small. Everything is small. And people do everything local, you know, and daily, like 3-4 days a week, 5 days a week sometimes. My girlfriend is out shopping. And, you know, Italy is a sort of very traditionalist kind of a country still, you know, as far as some things go. But anyway, the good news is my girlfriend says I'm the cleanest, most helpful guy she's ever known. So there's that. Because I was raised, well, my mother is a feminist, right? So, you know, and raised me. I was raised by a feminist, so I know how to do laundry, I can cook, I can clean, I can do dishes, I can do everything domestic. Plus, I mean, I was a bachelor for a very long time, so I'm good about those things. But I mean, if my girlfriend, you know, insists on, you know, taking care of me, I'm not going to argue. You know, like I'm not going to fight that, you know, like sure, man. Because everybody, you know, has a part to play in the relationship and knows their part and wants to play a certain part. And, you know, nothing wrong with that, man. Anyway, so yeah, everything here is little, what is it? Fun size. So I forgot what was I saying? There was a reason for that. I lost my point. Oh, for Dolby. Yeah, right. Because in Europe, everything is tiny, you know, really small.
Well, supposedly the AirPods support Dolby Atmos.
I don't buy it, man. Yeah, I don't buy it. I don't buy it for 1 second. I don't buy it.
I've never put on a pair of headphones and like been able to be like, oh yeah, that sound came from back.
Yeah, no.
You know, there's some binaural audio and stuff.
Yeah, but and like for example, like when you have your AirPods Pros, for example, like they default to like move. So if you're like having a call, you know, like this, and then you go to your bed and you lie down, the person starts talking in your left ear. What? Who thought that was a good idea, Bobby? And immediately I turned that off. It was so distracting. Even if it was just like leaning like that way for a second, it's like it makes you dizzy. You get dizzy. It's horrible. Listen to the old men complaining over here. Well, you're not so old, Bobby. You know what? I used to always be so happy when I would cut my hair because then you couldn't see the gray on the side, because I always had this white patch in the front from the age of 17. I have photographic evidence, by the way. It was tiny when I was 17, but there was a gray, natural gray patch. Anyway, but now when I cut my hair, it doesn't hide the gray anymore. So, yeah.
Time keeps on going.
It does, man. It
No matter
really,
what we do about it.
no matter what, it just goes forward. Okay, so here, public opinion. Let's do a public opinion poll. I need everybody's opinion on this. I was thinking about this yesterday because I'm having trouble with my teeth, and I thought, you know, like, what if I lost a front tooth and a bottom tooth? You know, like, I'm always talking, you know, like, be authentic, right? And I would probably just leave. Like, I probably wouldn't get it fixed. I would just go with it, you know, like, because like that's nature. Nature is, you know, but then also nature is a cavity, and you get it filled. So maybe
Right.
but I guess it's like, as long as my mouth can function, because I lost one of the back ones, and I'm just like, yeah, fuck it, you know. It's just nature and me not doing very well taking care of my teeth. So the poll is, if I were to lose like a really visible one, like, you know, would it be okay? Is it like, how do you know, like, what's like what you should do in life? Like, I don't know. It's like, is it societally accepted? Because it's not really, to just walk around with missing teeth.
Yeah.
But I don't give a fuck. That's my problem.
Well, that's why it's not accepted.
Why? Because I don't give a fuck?
Because what you're telling people is, yeah,
I don't care enough to be, I see, yeah. I don't care enough.
Haircut, not shaving enough.
Right. Okay. Well, I'm glad I brought this up, because now maybe I will get it fixed. Yeah, it's a good point, right? Because we're not savages, right? It's just, I don't give a fuck. That's my problem. I you know, about a lot of things. But yeah, you're right? Because I shave, I cut my hair when it gets too long. Yeah. Okay. I'm glad we had this conversation. DL students are going to question us and why we have more fun sessions with him. It's true, man. You know, you watch this stream and all my students are like, whoa, I wish you taught class like that. Truth is, I do. You know what I always tell my students? I always say, the day teaching is not a pure pleasure and an absolute joy for me, I will never teach again. Never. I just won't, you know. And, you know, it is, where I teach now, I love it. I love the students, the administration, they're awesome. They're super cool. And some places are not. I've taught at several places, and some places are just better places to teach at, you know. So, all right. Well, I think that's it for tonight. Yeah, we're good.
We're good. Yeah.
All right, all. Well, it's that. What's that? Yeah. Yes.
We appreciate everyone for coming.
We do appreciate all of you for coming, and you know, just saying, if you can help me to, you know, spread the news about my album, I'm still, you know, I'm still interested in having that, you know, out there in the universe. So, oh my God, look at that. Restream asking me to log in just to send a chat. I tested it earlier and it was fine. All right, is my, and now I can't even send anything. Won't accept a thing. Anyway, Bobby, would you mind to put my link tree? This always happens. What?
Yeah, I said, for sure.
Ah, cool. This always happens to me where I test the chat at the beginning, everything's fine. And then towards the end of the stream, oh, there it is. Seems to be working again. All right. Did you see my link from David Logan Music?
I sent it.
No, I mean, like, in other words, are you seeing me typing? Like, is my chat working?
Hello?
Okay, it's working. So, cool. Off to buy an oscilloscope? No, JT, because you make music. You make amazing music. Okay? Yeah, let me just see here if we can, if I even have this. I don't even know if I even have this anymore.
Can't do this stream without you.
I haven't heard that. All right, let's go for it. Oh, damn it. Oh, probably because now I lost it. There we go. Yeah, probably because I don't have the Stream Deck as an audio source in loopback. I think that's what's going on here. And that's exactly what's going on here. All right, cool. So
can't do this stream without you.
Can't do that. Anyway, I was looking for JT. JT wrote some theme songs way back in the day. And then I stopped using them because it was always my intention. I was working on theme songs for I wanted to do my own. I mean, it's not unimaginable that I would want to do my own theme song. So I always felt bad about that because JT wrote a great theme song. I was looking for it just now, but I don't seem to find it anywhere here. Let me see here. Oh, let me see. No. Let me see over here. No, I don't.
Can't do.
No. I thought I had it on my Stream Deck here, JT. I was going to play it, but can't find it. So anyway, thank you all for coming. And don't buy an oscilloscope, JT, because you make great music. I've heard it. It's awesome. Bobby, thank you as ever for joining me. And I think that's it. Like I always say, you guys, I think the purpose of life is to find some purpose in life. And I think the meaning of life is to find some meaning in life. Thank you all. And